Hey everyone, welcome to episode 25 of PixlFeed Radio, and I'm here with my friend Megan Bennett. How you doing, Megan? How are you?
I'm doing great. So
From
happy to be on the show.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you. She's the CEO of Light Years Ahead, which is a PR marketing firm. And we met not too long ago. So I was like, you got to come on. You got to do the show with me and talk a little bit about PR because I love that world. I haven't touched that world personally. I kind of know how it works. But, I'm on the marketing side of things, obviously. So before we get started, once we get going, I want you to give, business owners and entrepreneurs, tips on how they can get on publications, maybe on TV, just little of the secrets from the inside, you know what I mean? From the pros like you. But before we get there, why don't you tell me your story? How did you get to where you're at now? How did it all start? What took you there? Because obviously it takes a certain personality to do so. You got to be very outgoing, right?
You have to be really outgoing. And I mean, that's something that I think every publicist needs is to sort of get that I don't give a shit attitude because you're going to get rejected a lot in the business.
Like sales.
So, yeah, it's just like sales. And you have to have a thick skin. I actually started out, I went to college in upstate New York and I was a theater major and then realized I had no interest in it and went to LA for an internship one summer and interned with PR firm with two different PR firms. And one of them was more like PR firm talent agency. And the other one was a PR firm that was just for celebrities. And I was interested, but I really hated the celebrity side. And I realized I want to do product PR and work with experts, but not celebrities.
I'm sure people want to hear about the celebrities.
Oh God. I mean, it sounds like it's glamorous, but really it's like it's just totally different than dealing with products and just regular personalities because it's just a whole nother, you have to deal with so much damage control. And that's just the main thing. So after college, I moved out and I had one job that was supposed to be in PR, but it ended up being customer service and I hated it. So I resigned. I left the job and within a couple months, I saw this listing on UCLA Job Track for a part-time, publicity assistant working for this one person who represented at the time Rembrandt oral care products. She basically revolutionized the whole whitening category and made it into a beauty category. So I went and I interviewed with her and we immediately clicked and she was my mentor. I worked out of her house for 8 years until I moved to Kansas City and I've been here for 10 years and I work out of my house here and I ended up kind of taking over the company and it's just my work is my hobby and I love it because I love building brands and helping them get exposure in the media in an authentic way, which is different than advertising. So that's kind of what happened.
No, that's awesome. Listen, I like the fact that you knew what you wanted to do and you were passionate about it. So you found somebody to mentor you through it. I have done the same in my career. There's people that mentor me throughout my career. And I think there's a lot of advice out there now with social media and stuff. It's like, oh, just do it. Just go hustle, blah, 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 blah. It's like, listen, man, if you have the opportunity and you know somebody who's doing what you do to a whole new level and you can get into their inbox or in front of them or stalk them online, just leaving comments on their stuff and just be like, listen, I will enter for free. I will polish your shoes or whatever. You should do that for at least a couple of years. And that you're going to learn more from that than 10 years of college with a marketing degree or whatever, a business degree. I mean, because they're doing it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't think I really learned much in college in that aspect at all.
I learned how to drink harder. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. How to party all night.
Yeah. That's all I learned in college.
But the work experience, and when she hired me, I was 22. I mean, most people don't find something that they like for, I don't know, I think it's 9 to 11 jobs. This was my second job out of college. And when she sat with me after she hired me, she's like, you should be paying me for how much you're going to be learning when you work for me. And then she went out of town after 3 weeks, went to Bhutan, which there was no cell phone connection, and said, you know what, you're going to have to take care of this while I'm gone. And I was like, but that's how I really just threw me into the wolves. And then I just took the initiative to not have to ask permission to do everything. It just made me just go. And there were some issues when I was doing it by myself when she was gone, but that's what really got me into it. So, yeah.
That's the best way to do it when they just throw you into the fire. It's like, figure it out.
Figure it out.
To figure it out.
That's it.
And you'll be amazed at what you're able to do when you're put into certain situations like that. Yeah. So when you started working with her and she was showing you the ropes and, mentoring you and basically threw you into the fire, what was it that you started learning first when it came to PR and how to reach out to these people and how to get the ball rolling per se in your industry?
When I first started, I'm 41, but back in the day we had these thick books.
I'm 39, so
okay.
We're almost, thanks.
But we had these big books that were like super thick, and it was called Cision. And it's called Cision now. It's sort of like the Bible of the PR industry. Yeah. But it gives you all the editors' contact names and everything. But back in the day, it was called Bacon's. It became Cision. It was these huge books, like a phone book, and you'd have to go through and smile and dial. I mean, we barely did email back then, except for like to send a press release or something. But even press releases, everything was via mail and snail mail. So I would sit and I'd print out this huge list and I would just call magazine after magazine. And I'd be like, hi, I'm calling from Light Years Ahead. I wanted to know if you're interested in trying these oral care. And it would be like, click. Or I don't know why you're calling. I'm too busy for this. Click. And I would call. And after 10 to 15 editors, then somebody maybe from Shape would say, I really like this idea. Why don't you send me a sample and I'll see if I can get it into the September issue in Beauty Breakthroughs or something like that. So it was like all of the rejections that helped me to realize what would make the editors tick and what would interest them. All the no's helped me turn everything else into a yes. And I think the main thing I learned is you have to have a really good hook, a really good subject line, and the product's got to have a really good, unique selling proposition so that you can pitch it, because otherwise the editors do not care.
Yeah, and everything's still the same to this. So my respect for you was already here. Now it's so much higher because I've cold in the past for my business.
Oh God! Yeah.
So I know what it's like to make 100 calls a day and getting hung up in 98% of them. And like you mentioned, very important. You got to have a hook. You got to have a story to get them, or bait or hook to get them going. And it's still the same day. Like I teach everybody on the YouTube channel on this podcast. I talk about it sometimes in the podcast, but cold email. You got to have a good subject line that's going to make you click and open that email. So when you hit the inbox, you stand out from everybody else. That's what's going to bring your open rates up. Without a good subject line, you're not going to get through in that inbox. So, and then 100%. Once they open it, you need that hook to hook them with the first line and have them read the rest of the email and get back to you, which is, I'm sure you're doing right now. You still have your contacts. And obviously, I'm sure you have an amazing, massive book of contacts at this point. Do you still reach out? I mean, I'm sure you still reach out. I mean, that's how we met. You still reach out to people that you don't know, right? So how do you reach out
all the time?
Cold email for phone? You're still doing the phone, or
mostly cold email. Mostly cold email because people don't want to talk on the phone. I mean, the only time I really use the phone is if I have to call a newsroom, or like I have a good producer friend at Fox, Fox and Friends that I call, or like if there's a TV host that I talk to, we always text message back and forth. But most of it's email. It really is.
That's awesome. I mean, times are changing. What about Twitter? Do you use a lot of Twitter to be in touch with everybody, to get everybody out there? Not at all?
I have to say, our agency is not active on social media at all.
How dare you to come on my podcast and tell me that?
No, listen. We have an Instagram page. We have a Twitter page. We have a Facebook page. But it's like we're so busy promoting our brands that it's just... we don't have a lot of time to promote ourselves.
Well, in your defense, and I'm going to defend you on this because people right now are like, oh, what? The type of marketing that you do and where you get people on, it's not like, small channels and stuff like that. It's like Fox and Friends. A few million people are going to see that live. So the traffic that comes from that is just as much as you would do with a massive online campaign. So I get it. That's your niche. We concentrate on. Like, I'm an expert and Facebook ads mainly, but I know digital media and everything else that comes with marketing, right? But my niche is Facebook ads, just like yours is PR and marketing with those type of shows like Fox and Fox and Friends, or whatever other shows you work on. So you work with. So all right, so I talk about marketing all the time, digital and campaigns and all that stuff. Let's talk about PR. So if somebody's starting a business, small business, most of the people who are watching this are either starting out or they're still I can't even say the word in English. Relatively small, and they're getting to a point where they're starting to grow. So what's your recommendation to get the word out there, branding, to start getting the attention of like media in general, I guess? Or if you're a person of influence, if you're an influencer or like a fitness expert, how do you have 20,000 followers on Instagram, but you still haven't monetized and you want to keep growing? What's your play on that? Like, what would you recommend for people like that?
Well, I would first of all say that, of course, we recommend that all of our clients do social media campaigns. We just don't specialize in it and promote our own business really that way. But that is super important. So I think you need like a synergy of social media marketing, which is the top thing right now. And then also, if you have the budget, advertising. But if you don't have the budget, I think social media and public relations is the biggest bang for your buck. And whether you're going to be doing the PR yourself and subscribing to a service like Cision where you find all the contacts and you reach out, I think the most important thing is to get the unique selling proposition in one paragraph so that you have it, so that you can pitch it, whether you're meeting somebody in person, on the phone, in email, and you can send a message about your brand to all the media that you want to target and basically stalk them until they want to test or sample your brand and go from there, and then get them a sample. And then you kind of keep following up until they do something for you. But it has to be editorially, so it's not paid. And that is the value of PR, because if I'm working for a brand and we get them on the Today Show in a segment where they're doing a roundup of, I don't know, the best at-home spa products, and I have a contact with somebody that's going to be on and they promote your brand, I mean, that's worth, I don't know, $50,000 of gold right there that you would pay, maybe more. I think the doctors is like a lot more even to get onto that show if you want to pay for play. So we don't do pay for play. We pitch the media authentically, get them to be interested, it's just more genuine. And so that the editor really likes the product and they're not being paid to do it. And that's the difference. And so I think for any brand that's trying to emerge into the market, you need the credibility of PR along with ads, because if somebody reads an ad about your brand, they know that you paid for it. But if somebody reads an editorial story about your brand, they know that the person authentically liked it.
Yeah, that's what we call that, at least on my side of things, we call that social proof. So for example, when you're building what we call a sales funnel, which is, the page that you send traffic to sell them something, whether it's yourself or, a product or whatever, once you have that social proof of as seen on the doctors or Fox and Friends or whatever, like if you go to my personal one, it's all like the tech, publications, you know what I mean? Like they go, okay, Christian's the real deal. He's been interviewed by all these people. I'm like, well, yeah, I've been in this game for a while. So once you have that social proof, it makes you an expert on the subject, or makes your product legit because it's been proved by endorsed by people who are respected, in the field. So
absolutely,
that's why like brands like Oprah can go on TV and she just says, hey, I like this Post-it notes, and then they sell millions 2 seconds later. Well, Oprah is a whole different beast. But that's the gist of it, right?
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
So all right. So so let's say somebody does the work, they get the Cision service, and they start hitting up all these editors and stuff, trying to get on their shows. What's the approach that you recommend they use? And once, let's say somebody says yes, right? Like somebody who's never been on TV or interview before, how do you recommend they prepare for it? What should be at the top of the list to make sure to get the message out there and to be professional enough to get out there and to be invited back or picked up by other media outlets?
Well, I think the main thing is you need some media training, whether it's, somebody that you hire, or like we have media trainers that we work with, or like one of my clients, her husband's like an amazing media trainer for her. And then we practice and we get real like tight bullet points together, and you have to kind of practice. And I think doing podcasts is a really great practice as well. I mean, obviously you giving feedback after a podcast to somebody is invaluable, and just the feedback that they get from being on TV. But I will tell you that, we had one of our clients was on the doctors, and he was pretty media savvy to begin with, but we try to get the questions in advance if you're going to be on TV, just so you kind of prepare and you can you can, get ready for it. But after he was on the doctors, that really did give us the credibility to pitch him to other media. And then everybody wanted to cover him because then we had a link of him, performing on the show. So
right.
I think that it's a game. It's really, it's touch and go. And you sort of have to figure out also, there's other brands where the CEO or somebody that is involved in the brand, they don't really want to have a spokesperson. So then maybe we would hire somebody else to be the spokesperson, or, you do integrated TV segments where you work with an expert that does a roundup and includes your product. So there's so many different ways to get in there, but once you do one, it's a lot easier to do more.
Is that how, is that, I'm sure this is the way, but is that like, when you watch, whether it's Fox News or CNN or, one of those shows, or like the Daily Show, or the Daily Show. What's the one in the morning? I can't remember.
The Today Show.
The Today Show. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
They always have like these certain experts that always come on, like so-and-so, he's an expert on, I don't know, shoes, right? Yes. And it's always the same guy that just talks about shoes on every show. Is that how it happens? Like that's their whole, that's the whole career. Like, how does that even happen? Because I've noticed that.
I don't know how it happens, but I have one friend who's awesome, and he's like the gadget guy, and he's on the Today Show, I think usually like once a month. And he's just been doing it for years. He's been going to the Consumer Electronics Show. And I guess the more tech segments you do, if you have the right personality, people want you to come on, and then they just keep asking you, and it becomes a monthly thing. We had something like that with one of our clients in a like it was a local segment in Colorado, and she was an esthetician. Mm-hmm. And they loved her so much that they had her come back every single month to do a segment about beauty. Sometimes the brand would be highlighted, and sometimes it would just be not related, but just using her as an expert. So it takes the right personality. If you click, then they want you back.
That's awesome. So, and then if they're having you back, I'm assuming they're plugging all your stuff, or it gets to a point where you just come on so much they start paying you at some point. How does that work? Or is
now that I don't know. I guess it depends on, I think with the Today Show, there's like I don't think that they can pay, that the experts can't be paid to be
just exposure
on that show. But then some of the shows, there will be like a satellite media tour where there will be an expert, and they're going to be hitting 6 to 8 markets in, the top markets, maybe the top 20 markets. And there's going to be, Houston, Dallas, whatever. And they reach out and say, all right, I'm doing a segment on the top back to school gadgets. The fee is $8,000 to hit this many markets. Does your brand want in? And those are paid for. And you pay, I think it goes to the person that's going to be doing the reporting, and also sometimes to the production if it's like a satellite media tour, where they have like a satellite feed that's live. So it really depends, but it's pretty cool. It's a cool career to get into.
That's cool. All right, so we're running out of time, so I don't want to keep you too long, but where can people find you? Like what? Well, first of all, before they can find you, what is your firm specialized on? That way people know when they reach out, what you guys are experts in. You can break it down better than I can. So I don't know.
No, it's fun. We specialize in personal health, wellness, beauty, lifestyle. We even have a couple of veteran-founded products, and also
he's going to come on next week. I think it is. I'm going to have him on next week. Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. Founder of a CBD company, Extract Labs. But yeah, so we really have a smorgasbord of clients. Anything that's interesting. A lot of consumer products and experts. So just not really celebrities. We'll make you a celebrity.
Okay, you brought up celebrities again. What's the third? Well, come on. There has to be one bad story. You don't have to say names, but there has to be a horror story. I can only imagine like the diva moments.
When I did it, I was just an intern. So I was just like literally highlighting stuff in Us Weekly and Life and Style Weekly every day where there'd be a celebrity featured. But it was just the things I would hear in the background it was just like, I don't think I could deal with this, because you're constantly walking on eggshells and rescheduling stuff over and over again. So that's the main thing.
So then how all these tabloids work. People, US Weekly and all that stuff, they make up a lot of stuff. They have to, right?
I think a lot of stuff is hearsay. Luckily now I only deal with the beauty editors and the health editors. So those are the ones.
The real stuff, right?
It's legit. But I think that some stuff can be spun into some crazy stories. For sure.
I'm sure you can. Hey, here's a little tip that I tell people too. There's a little golden nugget. if you're running out of ideas for like whether it's like email subject lines or you're building a sales page on your website or on your website or a sales funnel, just go to Google and just Google National Enquirer and just pull up all the images, and then you're gonna see all the headlines. They have the best headlines, and just grab one of their headlines and just twist it to make it your own, and your open rates will go through the roof when you send that email out. That's one of my favorites.
Genius.
I learned that from Russell Brunson. I'm not going to take credit from that one. I learned that from Russell Brunson. But yeah, it's one of those that's like, it's amazing. Like when I go to the grocery store, I just look at all the magazines on the checkout, lane. I want to see what National Enquirer is putting on the cover, People Magazine, US Weekly, because the people who are writing those are copywriters. They've been doing that for a long time, and they know what works and what doesn't. So they actually, you probably know this, they split test those headlines. They'll send like half of the publication to these states and the other half to the other states. And then based on the headlines, they'll say, okay, this one worked better for this. So next time we're going to use it for this. And that's how they do it. We do the same thing with pages, digital pages, with the funnels. We split test the traffic 50-50. And then we'll just keep switching one headline at a time. And then you'll see the conversion rates going up and up and up or down, depending if it doesn't work. So that's a little golden nugget for everybody.
That's the same thing I do with pitching, where if one subject doesn't work, I just keep changing the subject line over and over in the intro sentence until it does work. And then it just takes one thing and then you're good.
I'll give you right now my favorite subject line. It works like 99% of the time. Quick question. That's it.
That's ours too. We use it all the time, except for
the open rate on that is ridiculous. Yes, the open rate on that, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. We use it too, but one time we got a response that said, "This is not a quick question. This is more than 2 sentences." So it has to be 2 sentences.
But if you grew up on cold calling and sales like we did and stuff like that, you just ignore that answer. You just go right into the pitch, and it's like it never happened. So that's what you did. All right. So we are out of time. But Megan, please give me all your links are going to be in the description, obviously, so everybody can find you. But just so they know if they're listening, where can they find you? Everything.
It's lightyearsahead.com, and that's our website. And our Instagram is at LYAPR. And you can email me at Megan, MEGAN, at lightyearsahead.com if you have any questions about anything PR. This has been so fun.
Or if you want to get on TV or you want to get on every major publication and podcast out there, hit her up. Hit me up. All right, cool. Megan, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
And guys, thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys later.